Okay. Now we're in Flagstaff again, aren't we? Yep. Well, we want to deliver some gifts. I guess we can see where we can go. We were wanting to go back up here, because we were in Port Angeles, but it keeps sending us back. Oh, we can just work our way up or something. Apparently the community event has already been completed across both games. There's a lot of cities that haven't had any such thing though, that haven't finished. Olympia, Yakima. Well, that's a good one. Yakima's a good one. Gets us right in close. But otherwise, I think what we really want to do is do route length that way, and then search for gifts. Get up to Moab, maybe. Wrong way. Okay, so it just seems there aren't all that many from here. Alright. Well, Moab's at least going kind of the right direction. So we'll do that. I have a new controller. I have a wireless controller now. So we'll see how this goes.
What are we waiting for?
No more big dead zone, hopefully. Very cool. The buttons aren't quite as clicky as I'm used to.
Turn left.
They feel a bit softer.
Turn left.
But I can make turns a bit more easily without having to worry about like 15% dead zone.
Turn right.
Still got a bit of one because it's hard to center sticks back right to the middle. But
here we are. Kind of on time.
oh, I forgot to start the music. I should do that.
Let's go.
Let's go indeed.
Turn right. Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
Also a slightly smaller controller form factor because it's the Xbox One controller, so it's slightly smaller, I think. My thumbs are kind of just missing the D-pad where they expect it to be. Hey Razor,
Left.
welcome, welcome. Happy New Year's indeed.
Turn left.
It's going okay. Just taking it easy. I only crawled out of bed like an hour ago, so... taking it slowly today. So I thought, rather than anything like something demanding like Icarus, we'll just play something nice and chill. There is a community event at the moment going, where have to deliver 15 gift deliveries. It expires in a couple of weeks' time. I think it's like January 16th or something is when it finishes. Which is a week after I go back to work, so kind of want to finish it this week if I can. Big chillin', absolutely. Still going to be speeding though. But these, yeah, Merry Christmas, you kind of missed that one. These deliveries are the ones where I can only go 60 mile an hour maximum anyway, so That's fine. Nice trailer. I do like the trailer. It even has lights around the back, I notice. That's cool. More trailers need more lights along the sides of them. A lot of the basic ones don't really have any, which isn't very realistic, because normally you've got a few to mark the length of the vehicle and stuff. It's just a safety thing. It would make it a lot easier when driving at night to be able to actually see where the back of your trailer is and the sides and stuff cornering. Take our chances. Hope there's no traffic coming the other way. At least you get a bit of visibility in the outside view. Read the needle.
At the roundabout, take the second exit.
Bouncing over the roundabout is a great way to crash, so we're just going to take it a little bit slower through there. Going to be driving through the night, unfortunately, which means a little bit less to see. But the desert is pretty at night, though. All the rocky silhouettes. I see a little silhouette of a house. When the holidays finish up, I'm going back to work on the 10th.
Get ready to turn right.
The company I now work for technically suggests a 3-week shutdown,
Right.
so the week of Christmas, New Year, and the following one, so a lot of people won't be going back until the 17th. But because I just started, I don't have that much leave saved up, and I don't want to take too much in advance. So I asked to come back a bit early, and my tech lead is coming back the same day I am anyway, so I'll be able to do work and stuff, so that's pretty good. So it's just 2 weeks. It's kind of always weird with the depending on how the public holidays fall. It's kind of annoying how this year or last year it was Christmas on the Saturday, so I mean you were working right up until the day, basically. And then it's the following Monday, Tuesday that we have off as public holidays. Working today, only getting Jan 3rd off and then back at it. Dang. It's very common over here for companies, other than retail, obviously. Retail don't get a choice in the matter, sadly. I remember working at the supermarket, that was always a drag. It's even worse in places that actually have sales on, like Boxing Day sales, New Year's sales. Working retail would suck this time of year for sure. But a lot of kind of, what do you call them these days? It's the old kind of white collar, blue collar distinction, I guess, but we don't wear collars anymore. Not if we can help it. So it's more just the desk jobs, basically. If you're working a desk job, not a service job, then it's very common for companies to just shut down, except for like on-call support for 2 or 3 weeks. Weeknights at a gas station. Yeah, screw that. My brother worked at a gas station. My mother did as well, but in the back office, so that wasn't so bad. My retail stint was just in a supermarket instead. In the beer and wine department. Good days. It was good fun. It was while I was at uni. So I was like doing uni all the day, and then I was working until like 11 at night at the supermarket. Meant that I was pulling in some extra cash at least. Not necessarily recommended, but motivation started dropping after a while. Just get a bit too burnt out. This one's a bit of a weird one for a chill station, but it is called, well, the artist is Chill Skills apparently, so... Honestly, I think I might just skip it. Not a fan of the kind of weird vocal trill thing. Now, can I do it without crashing? Yes, I can. Is uni doing evenings video rental, overnights at a gas station, 16-hour shifts? Dang, yeah. Not a great way to be able to see yourself through university, but come out the other end with less debt, so that's always good. Not that student debt is as big a deal over here than it is in like the States and stuff.
Keep left.
Here you don't accrue interest so long as you stay in the country.
Turn left.
As long as you spend more than 6 months out of every year in the country thereafter, basically you don't just skip town, then your interest gets written off. And it's a low interest rate as well. It's all just state controlled. Yeah, student debt. Yeah, sounds like you basically did exactly what I did. It's basically work to not have the loan anyway, even though it wouldn't have made much difference. I mean, what makes the difference is then not having to pay it back again later. Yeah, the repayments is also pretty decent, but it's a chunkier pay packet for the next kind of 10 years after you finish, assuming you even manage to land a job out of it, so... Assuming it doesn't cost an arm and a leg, it's about 70% paid out of taxes. Yeah, same here, it's about, yeah, 75% I think here. International students, if you're not a resident in New Zealand, you have to pay full price, and it is a lot. They recently did do a scheme here, or the government of the day passed a thing where like the first year will be fully subsidized. And honestly, I don't think it's a good idea, because all it meant, like they said that it was going to incentivize people to start doing university. Enrollment numbers didn't change, because the cost is not a barrier. The fact that you can get the full student loan with no interest anyway, cost is not a barrier here. So making it so there's no cost accrued for the first year made no difference to enrollments. What it did do is, I believe the universities then just turned around and put up their fees, because it's like, oh sweet, we're not going to put anyone off by making things more expensive, we're just going to pass it on to the taxpayer. And because once people have already done 1 year, they, sunk cost fallacy basically, are more likely to continue on for the later years that they do have to pay for, and not just dip out because it's more expensive. So all it did was line the pockets of the universities. It made no difference to anyone else. And students end up just as bad off in terms of their eventual debt because the later years just cost more. So, yeah. Stupid decision. Silly way to spend billions of tax dollars, basically, instead of, I don't know, improving the health system. The thing that they actually campaigned about like 5 years ago, that the health system was underfunded, and then they did nothing about it, and now we're faced with a massive problem in terms of COVID, because if it gets into our hospitals, we have like a miserable 4 beds per 100,000 people in ICU or something. It's like one of the worst numbers in the OECD, I think, in New Zealand for the health service. Yeah. But a lot of the student unions back the government party, so, you know, they had to give the kickbacks, basically. That's all it ever comes down to. It's gotta pay your dues to Apple's. A little bit wide. Gotta pay your dues to the people that supported you instead of actually making good decisions. You can actually pop in here for this corner section because I keep missing the corner and going over the lanes. Balancing act. Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, if there was genuinely a problem in terms of like tertiary enrollments and things like that, then absolutely makes sense. Like, there's definitely some things. I think there's like a maximum number of years that student loan can actually pay for. It's like 8 years maximum, and there's a problem. I don't think it's been addressed. Maybe they addressed it as part of it. I hope so. But likes of doctors, their courses tend to be like 10 years or more because they've got to do their initial studies and then their first lot of practice, and then if they're specializing and going into a specific field, then that's another couple of years. So people studying to be doctors, they ended up having the last most expensive couple of their years not covered. And I'm thinking, those are the people we want to be graduating. Let's give them more. Don't bother making it easier for people to just do a simple degree. Let's make it so that people can become doctors easier. And nurses. That's the other thing, is there's a shortage of general practitioner doctors. Because, well, not solely because, I mean, for one, it's a hard job and very few people actually want to do it, but the study for that, you still have to do like a hospital placement and stuff, and there's limited numbers. So it kind of adds a restriction. If all you want to do is just be a GP at a local practice in a neighborhood, you don't need that experience. Sure, it's nice, like you could have it still be an option for people who are even current GPs to do a hospital placement for experience. But it should not be a prerequisite. And that would accelerate things. That would cut it like a year off or 2 years off. Yeah, it's a common problem around the world. I mean, part of it is just because it's one of those things. Doctors, nurses, teachers even. There's a lot of things where it's like a feedback, sort of vicious cycle, feedback loop. It just kind of works around on itself because the conditions get to a point because of lack of staffing that it seems like a really bad job to do, so people don't want to do it. Even if they were inclined to doing a job like that. It's kind of more of a vocation a lot of the time than really a job. You've really got to want to be a doctor or a teacher, something like that. So even if they were inclined in the first place, they might just look at it and go, you know what, I'm just going to do a desk job instead because I don't want that stress. So it just feeds back on itself. Because the pay isn't there, it's not as well rewarded as it should be to compensate for those sorts of conditions. To attract people into it in the first place. So yeah, I get it, but it certainly doesn't help. Yeah, and it's always just a case of doing budgeting and stuff, especially for businesses or governments. It's definitely a balancing act, but how you choose to balance things is what matters. And the ability to actually turn around and go, no, we're not going to fund this because it's not going to deliver as much benefit. But instead, it's much more about the immediate, because terms here are only like 3 or 4 years, so the fixation is for delivering things that will have outcomes within that time. So there's very little long-term planning a lot of the time. So yeah, it's a thing. Yay. It's like when people say, oh, New Zealand's so great. It is, Certainly compared to a lot of
Ghost
places, but it has its problems. Same as everywhere else. And our small population base actually makes things a bit worse sometimes because, yeah. Oh, it's not as crowded. That must mean you don't have as much demand for housing, right? Yeah. Or it must mean that your transport systems must be really good because they're not too crowded and traffic won't be a problem and... Yeah, nah. Public service works to counter that. Politicians should assume the service is long term. Yeah, that's the idea. We have the ministries that sit underneath. And they have their own, like, chief executives and stuff. Ooh, running out of fuel. Well, there's a petrol station just over here, so I guess I'm going over there. But the problem is that the ministers just have such a direct control over things. And also the governments are really bad at actually setting targets.
I'll find a new route.
Because it's like, yes, the ministry is technically meant to execute things long term and do things in best interest, but they need to be guided by policy. And the government of the day sets the policy. And it always happens that something that will have been worked on by a ministry will then just be overturned by the next government. They were doing a... they got called charter schools, but it's technically not. But it's basically private investment schools. No different to like a religious-backed school, really.
Please make a turn
but
when possible.
getting investment from trusts and any private entity that wanted to help set up a school. And they were getting really good results out of a few of them. But the current government is backed largely by a teachers' union. So they didn't like the charter school idea. A lot of teachers did because they paid better. But the actual union didn't. The associations did not like it one bit. Because they had less control over them. Basically is what it came down to. It all comes down to control at the end of the day. So they started to throw out the idea and they just became integrated state schools. And it's a real shame because they were showing really good results. So, whatever. Instead of it being a case of, oh, let's just keep things going as they are for like 5-10 years just so we get a good backlog of stats, so we've got some good data points to compare against. They just made the ideological decision of, no, we don't like this, so we're going to stop it. Ooh. Even though the numbers that they did already have from about 3 or 4 years worth already showed great results. Like, do you not actually care about the outcomes here? You actually don't care that kids in these situations, a lot of them were tending to lower socioeconomic areas, and they were being run in a better way than what the state system was providing. I think they had better teacher-to-class ratios and such, because they had the extra investment. So, well, you know, if this is working, do you not actually want these kids to succeed? That's what's happening now. But no, they probably don't. Because that will affect their voter base in future. They want them to vote for them in 12 years' time because they're disenfranchised. Yeah. The world's still in a mess. That's not going to change for a while. Last few years especially, I've just been trying to ignore it as much as I can. You okay? I'm fine. It's just one of those things that the state of the world is still in a mess and it's kind of depressing, but the last 5 or so years I've been focusing on private life a lot more, trying to just ignore what's going on, but you see the headlines and then I mean, I don't trust headlines, that's for damn sure, but you read into the headlines and you kind of go, wait, what's actually happening here? And you look into it and you go, oh, really? That's what you're doing still? Okay. I'm gonna go back to my computer now. Please don't break everything.
Keep left, and then turn left.
Please have a functioning education system still by the time my daughter needs it.
Turn left.
Nah, still in hospital. Pushing for a discharge today, hopefully. Oh, I haven't actually bought this garage yet. Oh, I can attend to that while I'm here. That's the other problem is then, yeah, my daughter will go into hospital appointments and care and stuff like that, and it's like, well, to keep my mind off things, I'll play games a lot, but then I'll be taking some downtime, and it's like I'll be looking around on Discord and stuff, and I'll end up looking at news, and I really shouldn't. That just makes my mood worse. She's doing alright. That's the thing, is she is doing alright now, so discharge should be on the cards, because it's always a case of we will get admitted because she needs some form of diagnosis and attention, usually an infection. It usually ends up with antibiotics. So that gets managed, but then the concern is, like, whenever she gets poorly, she does not eat properly. She doesn't, and she had a thing in her mouth as well, so she wasn't eating properly, wasn't wanting to drink properly, which is always a concern, because, you know, whenever adults get sick, one of the main things that you get told is, oh, rest up, drink plenty of fluids. Well, she's good at the resting part of it. Not so good at the drinking plenty of fluids part of it. Well, where the hell am I going? I hate these lots here. Oh, okay, I've got to go through there. It's really hard to see on the rearview mirror. So yeah, it's not been the infections anymore that's been keeping her in last night. On that alone, she probably could have come home, but they wanted to make sure that she was eating alright. They had to put a nasal tube in to be able to get her meds down her properly because she wasn't wanting to drink and stuff, but now that things are better controlled and better managed, she's doing alright, and we've had her home with a nasal tube before. We know how that works, we know what to do about it, how to check it, all of that. We had that when she first came home from hospital when she was born, so that shouldn't be a factor that keeps her in. And otherwise, she's not had any further temperatures, so yeah. Hopefully, I'll get a notification that they're on their way in a couple of hours' time, but there's no guarantees. It also depends on what their staffing is like on holidays or on weekends, so who knows. Just gonna run around the block here a bit, and then we'll find what delivery to take next.
Come on, there's a job to do.
It is a job to do, you're right. Apparently, I could have just... If it wasn't for the fact... Ooh, hello. Oh, my trailer's there, yeah. If it wasn't for the fact that I had to come in this gate in order to get my orders of where to drop the cargo, it looks like I could have just driven around here and just driven straight in.
Make a U-turn now.
Could I have? Yeah. Yeah, I could have just driven straight in from this angle. But no, I had to go to the specific bit so I could get my marching orders on where to park it. Whatever. That's fine.
Get ready to turn right.
And then there's this little bit off to the side here as well.
Finding new route. Make a U-turn now.
There we go.
Okay, let's find a new route.
Now I have been everywhere.
Please make a U-turn when possible. Recomputing. Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
Let's buy that garage.
We're here. Right on time.
Sure. Oh, hi. Hey, Mindromon. See you, Razor. Thanks for popping in. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Hope you have a good one. I hope your guys are doing alright as well. I know it's been a struggle over there too, so... Take care of yourselves, and yeah, hopefully this year is gonna be... improved. We'll wait and see. I need to look at cargoes now. See, this problem with this new controller is it doesn't recognize the... Even though I did assign them, it's not recognizing the back and start buttons to be able to... Like, start, stop engine. Should be that. Oh, there we go. Now it's joy button 7, apparently. Okay, so it is a different mapping. And now this is a hat switch instead of D-pad switch. Okay, so, because I selected the type of controller, I guess it's tried to reassign things, but some of the associations are not the same. Menu. Yeah, so that's 6 and 7 instead of 10 and 11. Interesting. Interesting. And it doesn't actually recognize them as being start and back. Party kitty. Nice. Gaming yourself right now, leave you in the view? Nice. Thank you. What's your plan? Something good? What was I doing now? Not world map, external contracts. So, we're wanting route length with gifts. Cedar City, Steamboat Springs. Logan's good, because that heads closer up. We're wanting to get back up to Washington, if we can. Back to Flagstaff. So we can head up to Logan. We could do Cedar City first, potentially. And then up. That might work. Yeah, we'll do that. These trips are like 15 minutes each or something, so that's pretty good.
Okay, here we go. Get ready to turn left. Turn left.
But there's a turning lane list.
Never mind. I'll find a new route. Keep right, and then turn right.
Been pretty bad the last couple of weeks and just playing a
Turn right.
ton of Icarus instead of doing what I was really supposed to do, which was this community event.
Turn left.
I should have gone to the next one.
Turn
But we've got a
left.
couple of weeks still to do
Turn
this,
left.
so 15 gifts should be fine.
Turn left.
We sure as hell ain't
This
gonna
is
finish
where
it
it ends.
today. But if we keep just taking the shortest route, then we might make a significant dent. We might even get halfway or something. I want to make sure that I don't go too long. That's been my other problem lately, as I've just been streaming for hours and hours and
Let's get this job
not
done.
doing anything else that I'm supposed to, because this is more fun than chores. There's no way through. Want to go out this exit instead.
Rerouting. Turn right. Turn left. Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
But I am hoping to get it back into a little bit more of a schedule. Never guaranteed when you've got kids around and stuff, but I mean, not at the moment, obviously, but under normal circumstances, there's no guarantee of the weekend morning streams, but I'm wanting to try and make that consistent. I have a couple of ideas of how I can make it even more consistent, potentially. I could do like a remote desktop sort of thing, or Steam, a Steam streaming sort of service, and actually play on
Go straight.
separate computer, use my gaming computer to do the hard work and do the heavy lifting, but actually be interacting with it through a different computer in the next room. So that way I don't need to worry about how noisy it might be in the lounge, where my gaming computer is. Because I don't like being shut away. I only have one main computer, so I don't want to just stash that in the office and not be out with everyone else. Because a lot of the time when I'm playing games, I am watching TV as well. I don't have my headphones on, or I have them half on. It's only really when I'm streaming that it's much more a dedicated thing. Bang, bang, oops. Should have gone around. I don't know why I went on the inside there instead of going just a normal overtake, but whatever.
Keep left, and then turn left.
No huge harm done. 2% is fine.
Turn left.
We never actually tried the Steam remote gaming service that they have. So apparently you can even install the app for it on a Samsung Smart TV, which I do have. So I'm kind of tempted to try and do that at some point. But it would have to be for a controller-only game, like it would have to be something that just does not use a keyboard. I don't have a wireless keyboard. This would almost be good enough. I wouldn't be able to change camera views like this unless I reassign things. I guess I don't need to indicate. Technically, I don't need to indicate. And I don't need the cruise control resume either, theoretically. Because it would be kind of fun to just sit on the couch and play a game on the TV. Back like when I used to have console. I can't be bothered getting a games console again these days. All my games are on PC anyway. There's very few console exclusives that I've been that bothered by. That have been much of an incentive. The only console I'd be likely to get would be a Switch probably, because there are more... Nintendo have more exclusive games than anyone else really. And they're all pretty good. And I don't think emulators are quite there yet. I think they've been working on things. I think they've managed to get decent performance out of one, but it's still not quite the same. But then half the time a lot of Switch games have been just ports from PC and other console games anyway, so it is just the Nintendo specifics that would make a difference. And at the end of the day, I can live without them. It's fine. It's been ages since I've played Pokemon anyway. I don't need to play the latest one. The Let's Go Eevee and stuff look really cool though. But I can watch other people play them. Let's be honest, even if I had them, I wouldn't finish them, I bet. And I've never been a huge fan of like Mario and stuff. The franchise or the ideal of it, sure, but I've never actually played them much, so. Not good at platformers. Mario Party can be fun though. I'm just going to drive through the rest area.
Finding new route. Recomputing.
I'm not going to bother squiggling my way around through the whole thing. I bet that I'll come back this way again sometime in the future. And there's no 100% map exploration objective in American Truck Simulator anyway. If there was, I would have just disabled all of the DLCs by now and done it for just California and Nevada. Nice road through here, I like it. Eagle Canyon. However you do an eagle cry. I'm not going to try and do an actual screech, that would be a bit abysmal. Don't think it would be picked up by the mic very well either. I can't remember what... Oh, excuse me. I can't remember what Eddie the Eagle sounds like either. Is he the one from... the Muppets or whatever? Who's the eagle in that? I can't. It's been too long. All I know is I like deserts, y'all. Oh, that's a nice view there. You can even see the canyon. Nice. There's not even a lookout on the other side. Wow, rude. How do you not have a lookout over there? I guess there was one further back. Now the rocks change a little bit. A little stream down there. Very nice. And coming through Selena. We're just gonna blitz past, not gonna stop. Don't need anything from the town. Just keep on trucking. 2 hours 5 in game time. That's about 6 minutes or thereabouts. 5-6 minutes. Unfortunately, I'm limited to 60, even though the speed limit is 80. Always a bother with these external contract things. I don't know, maybe it is local legislation. I don't know what the state laws are like. Maybe they figure that it's easier to not have that in game. I would have expected if you had a hard limiter fitted to your truck, then it might be GPS based, and so once it got to a certain point, like across a state line, it would be able to increase the limits that it's limiting to you to. So I know California is more restrictive, but Utah's higher limits. At some stage I'd like to redo, which one was it? The 600k garage, or no, 600k current balance speedrun. Because I did one of those, but it was just in, I think I made the poor decision of starting in California, and there's a lot more of a police presence, and like you have fines enabled in that particular category. And the speeding fines were massive. There was a higher police presence and the fines were worse because you're exceeding the limit by more when you're speeding. Because the limit's only like 55 or 60. Whereas what you probably want to do is start somewhere back and beyond in Arizona or Utah or New Mexico maybe. desert states are pretty good because the roads are mostly straight. Still there, original soundtrack, untethered by abstraction. That rings a bell. Have I got that game still there? I think it might have come up on my Steam suggestions at the very least. The game can go a long way with a good chill soundtrack, that's for sure. Struggling up the hill a bit here. Now the terrain is completely different. Well, not completely, but more like high altitude scrub. I believe as we go south we hit desert more again. Straight on through to the other side. In the immortal words of, I believe, the Doors. Let's go in here for this corner. Just get a bit of feel for the truck when you're in the cab. Trying to negotiate tight spaces like this. Oop, bollocks. Twitched the controller a bit too much. Yeah, just like that you get 6% damage instead of 2, that's absurd. What do they make those side things out of? I'm sure they're meant to just be, I'm sure they're concreted into the ground. They're meant to be flexible metal. A truck of this size going through that? It should not. And I've got a big bull bar on the front, come on. It bothers me that that doesn't seem to make any difference. Just don't hit things forehead. Into Cedar City. Is that what these trees are? Are these cedars?
Keep right.
Don't really get them here.
Right.
Festival City, USA. What festivals do
Exit
they
right.
have? Seems aspirational.
Turn right.
Well, that's 2 deliveries down. Didn't even really pay attention to how long the first one was. Big school bus dip over there.
Keep right. And then continue straight.
I guess you'd need buses a lot
Go straight.
around here because there's quite a rural catchment.
Turn right.
Oh, we're going down here. Big orchard, nice. There's a fence there. Oof. Stranger directed me this way. I think the better way would have been to come in straight.
Good driving.
Really? Thank you, but really? Okay, back way over there. Perfect angle. Always like to have a bit of an angle to pull it back at so I can actually see down the mirrors at where the zone is. Going straight back is more difficult. Then just turn it in and perfection. First try. Interesting that it's snapping my controller to the thing. Wonder if that'll help with speedruns. Next.